What's happening now? We're about to send you back to the future!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Back to the Future, the show in which we take a classic movie that one of us or both of us might not have seen before, and we take a look at it now. I'm Drew Bridger.
I'm Amber Inch.
And today we celebrate a milestone. A milestone in podcasting. Something that will go down in podcast legend for years to come. Amber, do you know what today is?
28th of August.
It is, and do you know specifically...
It's a Sunday, but it's a Sunday that's a Saturday because it's bank holiday. Woo!
I mean, yeah, it is. Okay, so yes, it is that as well. Do you know specifically what today is, though?
It is an anniversary, but I don't know the number.
Okay, it's actually a 1 week anniversary before we go to London to watch Foo Fighters. No, I'm joking. No, it is.
Although it actually is.
Although it actually is, yeah, it is. Not by the time that this comes out. Actually, do you know what? Ironically, by the time this comes out, we will have already seen them.
Oh.
So there we go.
They were very good.
I'm sure they were. Everyone that came was awesome.
Had a good time, yes.
Everyone had a good time. It is our 2-year Podiversary.
2 years.
Now, I know that the numbering system on this is a little weird. It might not be 2 years to the exact day. However, this is episode 52 of our podcast.
Oh, okay.
And we release 2 every month. So, it is technically speaking, because it's our 52nd episode, it is our 2-year Podiversary when this releases. How does that make you feel?
Special.
Did you ever think that you would make it 2 years podcasting?
No, because it literally feels like it was only like this year. Doesn't feel like that long, does it?
Really?
Yeah.
That's good though.
Yeah, I suppose.
Or is it bad because most of the films that we've done have been incredibly forgettable?
Also, we're doing this holding hands, which is very romantic.
Yeah. For the audio listeners, that's a visual gag for audio listeners, right there. No, it's not. Well, yeah. This is the thing. I've got to learn that some visual gags don't necessarily work over audio. Like when I say to you something like, "Oh yeah, I really enjoyed this bit of the film," wink. And I wink at you. It's like no one else can. No one can hear me winking. So, well, I hope they can't. Anyway, if they can, it's probably something I should speak to a doctor about. So, yeah, it's either a really good thing that it doesn't feel like 2 years because you've been having fun the whole way, or it's a really bad thing because most of the films that we've done have been pretty forgettable.
Some of them have been, but also let's take a look at. I felt like I was starting off a montage.
Yeah. So the twist of this episode is it's actually going to be a best of collection. We haven't actually recorded anything.
Why didn't we think of that?
Year 3. Yeah, that's what we'll do for year 3. We'll just put together a clip show. We couldn't be bothered to record anything. Here's a clip show.
We should have done that. That was so good. I love that.
Do you know what? Here's the thing. If anything, I feel like a clip show would be even more effort for me because I would have 52 other episodes to scroll through and go and find like the best bits of them, because I look at each episode and I'll go, oh yeah, I remember the joke that we made in that one. That was a really good joke that we did. Can't remember where in the episode it is, so I'll have to listen through to the whole episode. So maybe if I start far enough ahead of time, I can put together a clip show for, I don't know, next year? I don't know, maybe?
Well, you should have written down, when you were editing, you should have written down the timestamp of the funny jokes that we made, and then you could have gone back and done it.
Here's the thing, all of the paperwork that I have for the episodes that we've done so far, and that was the one bit of paperwork I didn't think to cover.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe what we should do is get listeners to clip certain parts that they think is the best, or like message us and say, hey, this joke was one of my favourite jokes you've done. It's at this timestamp on this episode, and I'll put them all together into a compilation.
It's the Gremlins one.
The Gremlins one was pretty good, I have to say. So the Gremlin about dang it,
the Gremlin.
Dang it, the Gremlin.
Yeah, because he kept trying to do things, but he kept getting it wrong.
Yeah, he kept trying to be good, but kept getting things wrong.
Yeah, he kept trying to be good, but then it was going horribly wrong.
I think the thing that made you laugh the most out of most of our episodes was on the weird science one, where one of the horrific-looking bikers says, "Please don't tell anyone about this. I'd hate to lose my teaching job."
Oh, yeah.
And you said, "What's that guy
what
teaching?"
Does he teach? And you said DT.
And I said DT because
that was really funny.
he can
I
only
don't know
teach
why
DT
that
with a
resonated
face
so
like
much,
that.
but literally, like, that was hilarious.
Because everyone can relate to having a horrific-looking DT teacher,
Oh, that's
just horribly
horrible.
scarred with.
What? Your DT teacher was horribly scarred.
Well,
Was he actually?
I did. Do you know what? I had a couple of DT teachers that they had scars like up their arms where
I
they
see what you
clearly
mean.
like
Okay, yeah, that makes
caught themselves on like a
I had
belt
one that
sander or
was a
something.
Bit, like, questionable. Questionable in the way that, like, he's a teacher of something that isn't like a hugely, I don't want to say relevant or important subject, because somebody might be a DT fan. I don't know.
Sure.
But you know, like, it's not the main ones that you want to get good GCSEs for if you want to progress in like regular thing. Like, I don't know how to put it, but you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, to any DT teachers out there that might be listening, we're really sorry. We're not belittling your job, but also it is a bit of a joke.
Don't be nasty.
Learn to teach something
I
real.
didn't mean it nasty. I didn't mean it nasty. I just meant, like, they had the clothes of people that were just like, do you know what? No one pays attention to this.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna swan it out. No one cares.
All of my DT teachers in school wore plaid shirts.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like tucked in plaid shirts.
Tucked in
like
plaid shirts.
rolled up sleeves, like they just
Yeah,
come out of the social
absolutely.
club or something. Like,
Absolutely.
They all looked a little bit like they just had a drink.
100%.
It was just weird.
Hundo P.
One of them, one of the DT teachers in my school was actually really nice, and he was very respectable, clean, tidy. He was the head of that department, so he had to like put on a better show, I guess. But he was really nice, and he was a DT teacher, but he was really nice.
Yeah,
So-
DT teachers are
and he
either like
always wore,
really
like, a
cool or
proper
really
coat.
weird.
Yeah, he always wore like a proper coat.
Oh,
And he
okay.
would do that annoying, like, not a proper coat, but like it looked like a lab coat but for DT people, so it was blue, like one of those, like, you know what I mean, like overall
I know
type
what you
coat
mean,
things.
yeah.
And then I think we were supposed to wear them when we did it.
Yeah,
but we
lab
didn't.
coats but blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. For DT,
And,
for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know what distinguishes that.
Just in case people thought that you were in a science lab.
Yeah, you have white lab coats for science and then blue lab coats for DT. This is going to be so alienating to anyone that's in a... I think that's only a British thing.
Yeah, probably.
So anyone...
I don't know.
So anyone
American
outside
as
of
well,
the
maybe.
UK, DT is essentially design technology. It's wood shop, metal work, everything
Yeah,
like
all
that.
together.
So, all together.
And I was really rubbish at it as well.
Our DT teacher in GCSE let us listen to Radio 1 while we were doing our coursework.
That is crazy.
Had Radio 1 on in the workshop.
Our DT teacher ended up like being the type of person that made stupid like dad jokes that you would expect those like older teachers to be making. Like somebody would put their hand up and go, "Can I go to the toilet?" And they'd go, "I don't know, can you?" Like that's what he did.
Oh yeah, those people.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
I know.
So we've been podcasting for 2 years now. And even though it's not been every week, it's been every other week, so that we have time to
Although
watch
at the beginning
them.
it was every week.
Well, yeah, it was a little bit. When we were pre-recording them all,
Yeah.
ready for release, we were doing as many as we could, as often as we could. The heady days of lockdown in 2020, where we had very little else to do. No, so we give ourselves time to watch the film, then record it, and then release the podcasts a little bit of a while afterwards. So we would obviously, on our 2-year anniversary of podcasting, love to hear from the listeners of the podcast what your top film that we've reviewed has been. Whether we gave it a good review or a bad review, we might have accidentally given one of your favourite films a bad review. I don't know. But, art is subjective. Get over it.
Build a bridge and get over it.
Yeah, get on a bridge.
Like
get
Hannah
over
Montana
it.
says.
And then, our next project is the Lizzie McGuire podcast, obviously.
Yeah.
But if there are any other ones that you think we should do in future, we obviously want to hear about that as well. But for our 2-year Podiversary episode, we are travelling back to 1974. And it's not the furthest back we've gone, because it wouldn't make sense then for this to be a sequel. But we're going back to 1974. I cut it off right before the end, so it's okay. It was less than 6 seconds, so it's all right. We can get away with doing it. It's a parody song. That's how we get away with it. Okay. That's how we get away with it.
Artistic
if we claim
license for being a parody.
Artistic license for being a parody song. It's okay. It's fine. So we are looking at what has been, I would say, pretty much universally considered as one of the greatest pieces of cinema history. Okay. I think it's pretty fair to say that.
Yeah, people go on about it a lot.
Yeah. We're watching The Godfather Part 2. Now, this film is something that sparked an ongoing debate in cinema. Well, it's a very generic kind of debate, but it basically is kind of one of the exceptions that proves the rule that sequels will never be as good as the originals.
Because everyone says this is better than the original, right?
Everybody universally says that this is better than the original. And in some respects, I can see that. In others, maybe not so much, but that's to delve into in a little bit. But other ones that people kind of agree that are better sequels than the originals were, than the first installment, are things like Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Aliens. People widely regard as being maybe a better film than Alien.
Really?
Well, here's the thing. I differentiate between the two. Alien is a horror film. Aliens is an action movie. That's why I maintain that there may be...
You can't really compare.
You can't really compare. And I think a lot of people that say that Aliens is better than Alien are people that prefer that genre of film over horror films. Which is fair enough. Again, art's subjective. Get on a bridge and get over it.
Build a bridge and get over it.
Build a bridge and get over it. God, I can't even quote Hannah Montana right. God. There are quite a few sequels that have been better than the originals, but for the most part, sequels very rarely stand up to the first installment. And I think that it was Godfather Part 2 that first really surprised people as being a film that surpassed its original. That being said, neither of us have seen this before.
No.
Neither of us. And, I said on our 1 year, because, the reason we're doing this, on our 1 year anniversary, we did The Godfather. And we made the joke that it'll be a year before we do The Godfather Part 2.
Was that a year ago?
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Yes.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
What? It was last August when we did The Godfather Part 1?
Pretty much, yes.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was around, Christmas.
No, I don't. No, because we were talking about it, whether it was or wasn't a Christmas movie in it, because there was part of it that took place at Christmas.
Really?
We had a whole discussion in that podcast episode about...
I can't believe that was a year ago.
Yeah, I know.
I actually can't believe that.
I know. Crazy, isn't it? Because here's the thing. Now that I'm thinking back on it, The Godfather does stick out in my mind as being a really, really good film. One of the best ones that we've actually done on this show. Although, opinion it being what it is, I think you would probably say that The Karate Kid was, but,
I can't decide. I really liked the first Godfather film.
Yes.
But I was kind of expecting to like it after reading the book, because the book was so exciting and amazing that I thought... I knew that he had a really big part in making the film as well.
Yes.
So I thought it's going to be really good. So that wasn't something that surprised me, because I knew that I was going to like it.
Right.
But the Karate Kid thing totally surprised me because I thought I was going to hate it, which is why it's kind of like, oh, that's amazing, that's such a good film, because it just took me by surprise.
And that's what I've been trying to capture immediately afterwards, is like,
there must have been some, though. There's been other ones.
Yeah.
What was the other ones that, like, surprised me?
Well, I'll tell you one that surprised me.
We say this every time. We do this every time.
Well, yeah, I think Gremlins was one that
I know, but there was also another one that I was, like, really liked. I can't remember.
But there was one that you've shown me quite a few films. Maybe not as many as I've shown, some. But there was one that you showed me that I was quite surprised that I like. And that was Rocky.
Yeah.
So I did, because I didn't expect to like Rocky. But I did end up liking it because of, I think it was just the fact of how different it was to what I expected it to be.
Because you thought it was going to be like sports and boxing and stuff.
I honestly really thought that Rocky was going to be way more sports centric than it actually ended up being. So that was good. And I did also, even though it wasn't really my kind of film, I think I did also quite like Saturday Night Fever. But that was because I think we watched that pretty much immediately after we did Rocky. And I was like, this is the Rocky of dancing.
Yeah, actually was.
Like, it's all it is. It's Rocky. It's the same plot line as Rocky, but it's got dancing in it instead.
So I'm looking at... I forgot that we did Unbreakable.
Unbreakable was good as well, yeah.
It was good. I forgot that we did that. So definitely the Karate Kid, which was literally number 2.
Yeah, that was episode 2.
Number 2. So
oh my god, I can't believe we peaked at number 2.
We peaked so early.
Wow.
We peaked so early.
I mean, it's a common problem that men have, but they do have a cream for it now, so cream.
I did like Halloween, which I wasn't expecting to.
Yes, that was the other one.
I actually really did like that. Yeah, Gremlins.
Yeah, we've got to watch the other new Halloween films at some point, but I don't know that we can do them for... I've got a plan for this year's Halloween one as well,
great.
so I've got a plan for that. Maybe I'll start hinting at it, but it's going to be a bit of a thing.
So honestly, a lot of these films, I was like, meh, meh, meh. It's basically been Karate Kid.
Yeah. Gremlins.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah. Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs.
The Warriors.
Yeah, you really like The Warriors.
And Stand By Me.
Yeah, Stand By Me was the one. So it's basically all of those. Yeah, Stand By Me was the original one that kind of spurned the whole idea of the podcast, I think. And it was a surprise we got around to doing it so late in the game.
Yeah, it took us all that time to do it.
Yeah, I was quite surprised that you liked The Warriors because I didn't think it was going to be your kind of film.
No, me either, but I really did.
Yeah.
It made me hyped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got me all hyped because it was so... I know this isn't a podcast about talking about other films, but it was so simple. It was such a simple premise and it was done so quick and so effective. It was just like, it's one night, bang, 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 oh, it's done. That's what I like.
Yeah.
An hour and a half, or it probably wasn't even that long.
No, yeah, it was pretty much bang on an hour and a half.
Yeah. And it was just one night, here we go, stories in, stories out.
Yeah.
I just liked it.
And this is the thing, like, I'm forever in the mindset now of like, what is it that Amber is going to like? What's that magic pixie dust that's going to make this great for you?
One simple storyline, quick. That's what I like.
Cool. So the Godfather. So The Godfather Part 2 is the antithesis of all of those things.
Literally.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that being said, we do have to ask the question. So every podcast episode, we get the person that hasn't seen the film to tell us what they thought the film was going to be about before seeing it. And we both hadn't seen Godfather Part 2, which for me is pretty bad because you would have thought that I would have seen something
I know, but why would you see
historic.
Part 2 if you didn't see Part 1?
Yeah, I know. And I was actually putting off seeing Part 2
I don't know whether to bother
this.
about Part 3. Not because of this, not because of
No.
anything of this, but I just don't know. I don't
No,
know.
but that's also because I've universally heard that Godfather Part 1 and 2 are the good films.
Yeah, I know, but can
And
I
the Part
also
3
say
is also,
that
like-
Cars 3 is the best one?
Why is Cars 3 the best Cars film
It's
there
honestly
is?
one of the best Pixar. I don't know why, but it's one of the best Pixar films
I don't know that it's the best Pixar
One
film.
of the best, I said.
Well, I would say, here's the thing, for me, Cars
It's better
3...
than A Bug's Life.
Yes. Cars 3 is the best of the Cars movie. It's even better than the Planes movies.
I didn't see that.
Right, well. So it's definitely the best out of all of the Cars movies. I'd say, as far as actual Pixar films go, it's maybe halfway to 2/3 of the way up.
I thought
It's
it was
still
really
only
good.
about half.
I enjoyed it more than Up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I actually did. I
Or,
loved
as
it.
Lightning McQueen would say, ka-chow.
Yeah.
Ka-chow.
I really liked it.
Yeah. So, Godfather Part 2, what did you think Godfather Part 2 was going to be about before seeing it?
I thought it was going to be about Vito's life before the mafia
Right.
and his early life, his growing up, what got him into it, what his backstory was, all
Right.
that sort of thing, and way back
Right.
New York.
Right.
That's what I thought.
So the kind of the flashback sequences that kept kind of
Yeah, I
chopping
thought it was
in and
all
out.
going
You
to be
thought it
that.
was all
I
that.
didn't actually
Right,
even realise
okay.
there was a lot of other stuff at all. I
Right.
thought it was... I mean, I did wonder how they were going to feel like a 2 half-hour, 3-hour, 5-hour film.
I mean, it wasn't that
with
long.
that sort of stuff.
It wasn't that long. It was
long
3
enough for
1/4
us to be
hours.
watching and for it to come up saying intermission on the halfway through, and then I thought
yeah.
we cannot be halfway through because it was like 2 hours in. I genuinely thought that was trying to say halfway through,
it was an hour and 40 from the end. I think it does that.
which is still a whole other film.
That is still a whole other ass film.
And we'd watched pretty much 2 films by that point.
Now, to give you a little bit of a peek behind the scenes here at Back to the Review Chair HQ, which is just what I call this space that we sit in.
We don't have a fan on today.
We don't have our fan on today. No, it's finally cool enough that we can just afford to sweat a little bit. To pull back the curtain a little bit, this is the first film that we've done for the podcast where we stopped it halfway through to go and do other things.
Yeah.
And come back to the rest later. We got an hour and a half, just over an hour, between an hour and a half into it. And then we stopped it because I had to go and do some other recording and we had to make dinner and everything like that. So we stopped it for a little bit in the middle, went away, did some other stuff, came back to it. And then there was an intermission later on. So we very nearly split this into 3 parts throughout our day. It's a long film.
It's a mission.
But what I kind of thought the film was going to be was almost the opposite of what you thought it was. I thought it was just the continuation of Michael Corleone.
Oh, right.
And I thought it was going to be him coming to terms with being the new Don Corleone and doing a job that he didn't necessarily ever want to start doing.
Not really, no.
And wrestling with that. And yeah, there was a little bit of that in here, but ultimately I feel
he'd
like
kind of made peace with it
yeah.
at the end of the last one. He was
Yeah.
like, well, I'm just it now. That's how it has to be.
Yeah. I knew that Robert De Niro played young Vito Corleone in a flashback thing, but I thought that was all Godfather Part 3.
Oh.
And I thought that was why people were like, oh, don't bother so much with Godfather Part 3 because it's Godfather Part 3 is basically the prequel.
Like going backwards.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Well, if we'd put both of our ideas together, we would have come up with a film.
Right.
Kind of.
Exactly. So both of our ideas together is kind of the crux of what the film is. So I don't necessarily mind it when films have a dual narrative going. Like, they have the flashback to previous life and then its current life as well.
Yeah.
Because I never really get confused in films where they have that dual storyline going. However, what I will say is usually there is a significance between one affecting the other. And I kind of thought that there was going to be more of that happening. I thought that there was going to be something happening in Vito Corleone's life that was going to be reflective of Michael Corleone being the head of the family now.
Right.
And I didn't really get anything that was like a direct parallel between the two. If anything, it was kind of highlighting how different each of them were.
Yeah.
If anything.
Yeah. I think it's just about family, what led you there, and how it started, because he was avenging his dad's death with the other mob boss.
Yeah.
He's now getting rid of all of his family because they backstabbed him and all that sort of stuff, because it was his wife that said, you're doing all of this and ruining your chance at having a nice happy family and a life because of this stupid thing that happened 200 years ago in Sicily. Like, your heritage from 200 years of idiocy, stupid manhood is going to stop you from having like a proper life.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of...
It is reflective of that in a little bit, I suppose. But you said that the storyline was a little bit confusing to you. See, okay, and what I think we should do is I think we should compare notes on what we thought was actually going on throughout the film. And I know that's a very broad term. Obviously, we know that it is about mafia families, and then the flashbacks is Vito Corleone, which actually, let's talk about Robert De Niro for a little bit, because Robert De Niro makes his first appearance in this franchise, in this film, as a young Vito Corleone.
He was really good.
He was so good.
And after watching that film for 3 hours, I feel like I can actually talk Italian now.
Now, here's a little bit of an interesting bit of trivia, if you want. Now, I've got to say, normally when we do trivia time, or as it's been evolved into, is the trivia worth the time? Right?
It never is.
Let me tell you, when I say the last few episodes we've done, the trivia has been lacking, right?
Yeah.
It has been subpar trivia. And in fact, we've gone so far as to making up trivia to go onto Amber's movie database instead.
That's bad when that's happening.
Let me tell you, when I say that some of the bits of trivia on Godfather Part 2 are...
Right, finally.
Yes. Okay, so number one, right? Robert De Niro spent 4 months learning to speak the Sicilian dialect of Italian in order to play Vito Corleone. Nearly all of the dialogue that his character speaks in the film was in Sicilian. I think he said
am shook.
I think he said a sum total of maybe 3 sentences.
Yeah, he said a few things here and there in English, didn't he?
Yeah. So Robert De Niro spent 4 months not just learning to speak Italian, but learning to speak the Sicilian dialect of Italian.
He did good as well. And he sounded so good. His accent was great. He really, what is kind of telling of somebody who knows what they're doing is him speaking a language which isn't his and that he couldn't understand before, and probably isn't fluent in now still. He still got across what the words meant, the meaning and the emotion and everything like that in a different language. And
I nearly had to stop the film to look up whether Robert De Niro was Italian or not. That's how convincing it was. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure. It does also say afterwards, to prepare for his role, Robert De Niro lived in Sicily for 3 months.
Right.
So I guess 3 out of those 4 months.
Still not a very long time though.
Was
He
spent
still did
learning
well.
I don't think it was consecutive Like, I don't think he spent 4 months learning it and then went to live in Sicily for 3
No, no, no.
I think he spent 3 months in Sicily, 3 out of the 4 months,
Yeah, probably.
learning the dialect.
How they talk and stuff.
Yeah, so that's probably where that came from. But yeah,
Well,
he was
good.
just, he was
and he
really
sounded
good.
like Marlon Brando, and I totally believe that he was the younger version of Marlon Brando's character in the other film.
Yeah.
I know he didn't really look like him, but I mean, it was way before anyway, so that doesn't matter.
No, facially, I don't think he looked facially a lot like Marlon Brando, but mannerisms, the way he spoke, the way he like held himself,
he did well.
And to a certain extent, in certain lights, yeah, maybe his face you can see like, oh yeah, I can see how that changed.
If he got chubby, that's why. Would...
But it is a little bit like, okay, him and Marlon Brando are two very differently built people.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was everything about his mannerisms and the way he spoke and everything. It was very, yeah, you could tell that he had studied Marlon Brando quite a lot.
Yeah, he was good.
In order to do that.
Really.
And Robert De Niro won an Oscar.
Yes.
For this, and you can absolutely see why. I don't know whether Al Pacino was maybe bitter about that, but I think Al Pacino won an Oscar for The Godfather anyway, so
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
We did speak about this, but I can't exactly remember.
No, it was a year ago, believe it or not, so strange how time passes in the meantime.
Yeah, because didn't I ask if it was Marlon Brando, but actually it wasn't. It was him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something happened anyway.
Yeah, it was definitely something like that. So, my understanding of the film is, to give it a broad sense...
No, he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in The Godfather.
Oh, right.
But Marlon Brando won Best Actor.
Oh, right. It was the other way around. So, my understanding of the plot... No, it's not current, because it's not that far ahead in time from when The Godfather was. I think it's maybe stretches into like the 50s in this film. Stretches like across
I think Michael's bit starts in the 50s.
Yeah. So it's kind of spanning a decade almost within the realm of the 50s, I think.
Michael's part?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So my understanding of that quote-unquote current era part of the film is Michael Corleone, Al Pacino's character, is nearly assassinated at the start of the film, and he is playing a little bit of a game of cat and mouse with some other people to figure out who it was that put a hit out on him, and also take out a few competitors that he has that he's trying to do business with at the same time. Now it's like one of maybe 3 different people that are kind of working against him a little bit. And then there's that weird bit in court as well, which I think someone just suddenly went to testify out of nowhere against the family. And I don't know what kind of prompted that. But the plot line was a little bit confusing, and this is what gets me about gangster films. And I think I said this when we were watching The Godfather Part 1, was I don't normally get into mafia films or gangster films because things get convoluted. It's remembering a lot of names and who's related to who and who's got it in for who else. Yeah. And that is, like, I feel like if you miss a little bit of dialogue, that's it. Like, you've missed important parts.
I think I missed one of the first bits where they had a little bit of explanation, and then after that I was totally confused.
Now, I know that the senator, I think that they set the senator up at one point to get him on side and kind of bought at one point. And
probably.
You said, I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah, because I couldn't tell who he was. And after you told me
who
he was, it didn't look anything like him. I couldn't recognise it. I know that was on purpose.
That was probably on purpose at the time.
But, yeah.
And I thought you would have a better understanding of this because your experience of the book might
No,
have
but
helped.
That wasn't part. This wasn't in it.
Oh,
This
right.
wasn't in the one that I read.
Okay, so the bit that you...
I genuinely don't remember any of that from the book. So basically,
Right.
the first book was the story that we saw, Godfather Part 1, all of that, plus his flashback part.
Vito Corleone. Right, okay.
I don't know where
Okay.
the other parts came in, and it confused me.
Right. So this is probably why the script was co-written by Mario Puzo as well.
Yeah.
Because I think it was Francis Ford Coppola and Mario Puzo working together on the script for this.
He did that the first time as well.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have needed to work at so much of the script because most of it was from the book.
Yeah, but he had to make a script from a book though still.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there's a lot of stuff that was missing.
Yeah.
Because they went to him to help write, like, maybe not script, but to write the screenplay, like the overall.
Yeah, the
just all of it,
storytelling of
basically, yeah.
like what was going to be told in that
yeah,
film.
yeah.
So you got a little bit lost.
Yeah, I got a little bit lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of was like, I kind of kept up.
I will describe to you
Okay.
the actual story.
Okay.
Okay.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, yeah.
A very big nutshell.
No, it's not that bad.
Okay, right. Okay.
Okay. So, Pentangeli, Frank, the guy who got garroted in the bar.
Yeah. Well, semi-garroted because he's lived from it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He was annoyed because the brothers, the Rosato brothers, and Roth,
Yeah.
he felt were trying to creep into his territory, and he thought Michael should be helping him with that and keeping them back. So that's why he was annoyed at the party.
Right, okay. But he was also drunk at the party, making an ass of himself.
Yeah, but that's why. Because
Yeah.
he was annoyed at Michael because he felt like he should be claiming his turf back type thing because he thought they were encroaching on him.
Right.
And he should be kind of giving Frank a bit more security, basically. So then he's nearly assassinated, like an assassination attempt.
I'm keeping up with you so far.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes at the same time.
Michael has guessed already at this point, almost immediately, that Roth was the guy who attempted to assassinate him.
Which it was.
Yeah. But rather than confront Roth, like, straight away, he then kind of goes around pretending, like his dad used to do, that he didn't know anything. He's, like, acting dumb, playing a fool.
Sure.
Right? To try and pretend to Roth that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, try not to clue him
Oh,
in.
you
whatever.
gooseberry fool.
Yeah. So, he's also doing that, I guess, to try and weed out, like, the people in his family that have betrayed him. Like, just to see, like, how they react and all that sort of stuff. So, as part of the plan, he gets that Frank guy to go to the brothers and, like, make peace with them, give them, you know, a bit of a buttering up.
Yeah.
But they try and kill him, which wasn't part of the plan. Michael didn't know that was going to happen. That was
Right.
nothing to do with either of them.
Okay.
And then Michael just continues to pretend that he doesn't know what's going on, right? So they all go to Cuba. The guy resigns
Yeah.
because of the war and the
state of
revolution
unrest,
that's happening and all
yeah.
that sort of stuff. So then Michael's like, I don't
Which
want...
I don't know. I nearly looked it up, but I was like, okay, for the purposes of the film, I'm just going to take it as face value. I think something like that actually happened.
Oh, yeah.
In Cuban history.
It's still happening now.
Yeah, the guy no, but I think he actually resigned on New Year's.
On New Year's Eve,
On New
right.
Year, like as it
okay.
ticked over after New Year's Day.
Right.
And then there was like civil unrest on New
okay.
Year's Day. Like the year literally
Yeah, probably,
started
yeah.
with riots happening in the
Maybe.
street because there had been a whole revolution that had happened.
I mean, they did make
overnight.
this like 20 years after this was supposed to be made, so possibly.
Yeah, so I just took it as granted that
That's
was
actually happened.
what actually happened in history. But I
Yeah.
do vaguely remember here from what little history lessons I can actually remember. I was mostly focused on DT. That actually happened.
So then, Michael makes the move to have Roth and Johnny, his like second man, eliminated.
Right.
Assassinated.
Assassinated. Oh my god.
But Ruth doesn't die. Ruth doesn't
Ruth.
die.
Bloody Ruth. Struth, Ruth. God, she just keeps coming back for more. Bloody Ruth.
Stop!
Alright.
Roth doesn't die because obviously the police come in
Yeah.
and stop the guy from...
Yeah.
they think that he's just like a rebel trying to get in on
because the guy that was trying to kill him was meant to be his bodyguard.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? So they'd obviously paid off his bodyguard to do it or something?
Yeah, he was Michael's bodyguard.
Oh, right.
He wasn't anything to do with that guy.
Oh, I thought he was...
That's why he said your bodyguard got killed.
Oh, right. No, I thought he was the other guy's bodyguard and that they paid him off. Which I was like, oh, that's clever. Like, get the guy on the inside to do it.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. That's not as impressive.
Well, you just keep thinking what you thought. I don't know.
All right, cool.
There wasn't anything about that.
That's my headcanon from now on.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Michael then discovers that the traitor who leaked critical information to his enemies was Fredo.
Yes. That bit I caught up with. I was like, oh, okay, so his brother is like the big part behind this. So it seems like
Fredo was the person that told the police what was happening in that hospital room, and that's what tipped him off.
Yeah, because when they're all out together, that's when it's meant to be happening.
Yeah.
And Fredo said something about the place that they'd gone to that made Michael realise a little bit more what was happening.
Yeah, and I think that...
Because he said, oh, this person would never come to this place.
Yeah, Roth would never come here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because... Yeah,
because then he was like, well, how would he know what Roth was like?
Johnny is always bringing us to this place and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And that Johnny is Roth's like second man.
Yeah.
So he probably thought, right.
Okay, so they're obviously in cahoots a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he knew more about this than...
That bit I got. That bit I was like, oh, so he knows something clearly.
Okay, yeah.
So
then it goes to the Senate committee who are investigating the Corleone family for their involvement in organised crime rings and stuff. This is what I mean. It's confusing. So Frank Pentangeli, whatever his name is, Pentangeli, thinks that Michael set him up and betrayed him because the attempt at assassination, but actually it had nothing to do with him. He had no idea.
Right.
But he thinks that Michael did set him up. So he's now said that he's going to testify against Michael and the Corleone family because he thought he got set up. Then obviously his brother turns up. Michael brings his brother.
Yeah.
Gives him a look like, if you testify against me, your brother's going to be...
Yeah.
Right? So you better not, mate. And that's when he's like, oh, no, I don't know who you're talking about. I knew his dad from before with oil and all that, but I don't have a clue what you're going on about now. Because he was going to kill his brother. Yeah. Obviously.
And again, that bit I got because it was like leverage.
Yeah, so that was kind of fine. Then this part at the end was something I didn't catch on really.
Okay.
That much at the time, and then afterwards I kind of thought, right, that makes sense, I suppose. So when Tom went to the consigliere, Tom.
Yes.
Consigliere might be pasta, I don't know. Consigliere.
Hey, Tony, pass the consigliere. All right. Put some of the meatballs on it. It's okay. It's not racist. It's fine.
No.
It's okay because it was terrible, so it's okay.
Yeah. All of that stuff, like Roth gets shot, whatever, blah blah blah. That's over now. I can't bother that anymore.
Yeah. So all of the other ones are done with. Yeah. That's.
So then, right. Because Michael promised his mum basically that as long as she was alive, he wasn't going to do anything to Fredo because that was like her son. Right. He's not going to do that. You didn't see him promise, I don't think, but I think he said something to Fredo like, oh, it's to do with mum or whatever he said about his mum. Yeah. So then obviously she died, so he was like, oh, now he has to pay because she's not going to know. She's died before him. So then he took him out, got him killed on the boat. Yeah. Right? So that's that done. But Frank is now in witness protection.
Okay.
And that's what he made the deal with, so that he could be in like a really good, like the best witness protection. Right. Because of all of this stuff that he claimed that he knew about the Corleone family. Then Tom goes and visits him in that. And he's like, oh, you're a history guy, Frank. You know about this, and this, the Empire and all that sort of thing. Yeah. And so by him saying that, he basically meant that when you go for the Empire, you lose everything. So he was trying to say to him, you go for the Corleone family, and you're going to lose everything. Your family's going to be killed. You're going to lose all of it. And then he says, like, well, you know what they do after that? They go in the bath, open their veins, and just
die,
let themselves go. And he was like, yeah, okay, yeah. So he goes and kills himself,
Right.
so this family would be spared.
Okay. Fair enough. So that made... Yeah, because I figured that was not a hit that was put out on him. So
he did kill himself, yeah.
Yeah, but it
But
was
like, so it says,
yeah.
he goes to the witness protection safe house. He obliquely threatens his family by reminding him that the Roman conspirators who failed attempts committed suicide. So the people who failed in their coup attempts, basically, who tried to overthrow them, ended up having to commit suicide because they'd be in danger of fires. So he agrees. In exchange for the promise of his family's safety and care, he kills himself.
Right. Oh.
I didn't get that at the time.
Did you not? Okay.
I
mean,
didn't get that that's what he was trying to say. I got the brother thing. I got that he took the brother to the court and he was basically saying, look, all it took is like one look at this guy's brother for him to pretend that he didn't say all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, everything's forgiven now because he's only going to kill my brother. Like, I did get that.
No, I got that after the fact that's why he was found in the bath. But I was, because at the time I was like, oh, that's a really weird thing, because they were like talking about that a while ago, but that wasn't what I got from that. And it was only when I thought about it a little bit afterwards, I was like, why did... Oh, because he was saying about the empires, and basically it was like a thinly veiled threat, essentially.
Yeah, but I didn't realise that he was kind of saying,
right.
oh, for your family's protection, you have to kill yourself, that type of thing. Like, if you're not here anymore, we'll look after them.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that specific thing was like going on.
No, I only kind of got that after the fact.
Right.
When I was like, oh, okay, so he's been taken... No, he hasn't been taken out. He's done that to himself. But what? Oh, right. I had to think about it.
Because, like, as it was going on, I kind of got caught up in what all of they thought, like, as well. So I thought that Frank had been set up because he thought Frank was the guy that double-crossed him. Like, that's what I thought was going on. And then I thought, oh, no, it's Fredo. But I think I thought Fredo was the one that set that bit up. So, so it kind of got me a little bit confused. I got a bit lost. So, like, I did like the film, but I think I would have preferred it if it had pretty much all been about Vito's, like, past life and how he'd come up. Because there was few parts in the book that they'd kind of missed out of his history that was really, like, interesting. Like, the way he had built the empire and the way he'd kind of gotten to where he was at Godfather 1 kind of point. And, like, how he set up his business and what he was running there and all that kind of stuff. That was quite interesting.
So you would... in a way, you would have preferred it if the whole thing was prequel material.
Yeah, I don't normally like the flashback thing. So having like one film where it's like, oh, this was old and this is new. I hate that normally.
Right.
But because this was kind of about two different people, so that was about him now and that was about his dad then.
Yeah.
It made it very obvious that you were watching something from a while back and this is now, because it wasn't the same person. So I don't mind that so much. Like, that was okay. But yeah, I normally don't like that. It normally annoys me.
And what was really great is you have to take into consideration the fact that this was filmed only 2 years after The Godfather came out. And they successfully, convincingly made it look like two very separate eras of time.
Yeah.
You know, separated by a good, like, 50, 60 years or something. You know, so they managed to pull that off really, really well. And like we already said, Robert De Niro speaking pretty much entirely fluent Sicilian for the whole thing. I mean, if it had all been prequel stuff, we would have had a whole film of just Robert De Niro speaking in Sicilian. Well, yeah, which you would have liked, but at the same time, it would have been... I don't know, if that had been the entirety of the film...
as it got...
I think they would have got a different actor to do it.
Well, I don't know, because he wasn't speaking Sicilian or Italian as he was building his business, because he started to do business with people that didn't talk that language anyway. He was in America, so I wouldn't have been that the whole time.
No. No, I suppose you're right. It would have been a longer film stretched out with him doing... Yeah, no, I can see that.
Like, I liked both elements. I just felt I got a little bit confused. I didn't like it as much as the first one.
Did you not?
No, I found the first one like so exciting and
Yeah.
so like on edge all the time about what was going to happen. Like every part of it was like action, action, action. Like I just liked that.
Now, do you know what? I will say something very similar to what I said about Godfather, in that I didn't once feel like there was anything that could be cut from the film and still have not missed anything, if that makes sense. I feel like every part of Godfather Part 2 was all vital material.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, that does mean that there are two very separate films combined into one film in that. So that's with the exception of separating those two storylines into two completely different entities. Taking it at face value of what it is now is what I'm saying. I don't think you could legitimately cut any part of this and not cut out anything that was quite vital. That being said, I do agree that I think The Godfather is a more well-rounded film, if that makes sense. Like, The Godfather has a very clear start and ending point. And I feel like The Godfather Part 2 has that clear starting point, but kind of leaves it for a continuation. It's almost like any film that they make as part of a trilogy, they make the first one, and if the first one is a success, they make the second one with plans to make a third.
Right.
So you kind of get that sense a little bit. I don't think that detracts from the film. I do think it gives it a different air to the overall feel of it. And yeah, there was something about The Godfather.
Maybe that's us watching it now, though.
Maybe it is. Maybe that's us watching it with the hindsight of it, of going, oh, we know that there's a part 3.
Yeah.
So it could be although Godfather Part 3 didn't come out for ages
really
after this one.
Yeah, they were a lot older.
A lot older. A lot older.
And they made him look a bit older as well, didn't they?
Oh, I think so. I definitely think so.
Yeah, I think they did.
Because Godfather Part 3 isn't what I thought it was.
Oh, right, okay.
And it's an older Michael Corleone.
Yeah.
Basically doing what Vito Corleone was doing in the first Godfather at that kind of age.
I just felt like the first one was just so exciting.
Yeah.
It just like the whole time just had me like on edge, and I loved it.
Yeah.
When I think back about it, like back on it, and I think, oh, this part and this part and this part, and I basically list like all of the parts.
And here's the thing. Because you were so tense after knowing what The Godfather was that you were watching Godfather Part 2. And you were waiting.
Yeah. Every single time somebody stood up or something happened, I was like, oh, he's going to get shot. Oh, he's going to get stabbed. No.
You were like, don't eat the cake. The cake's poison. That cake. There were so many shots.
I know.
Of that cake.
I know.
What was going on? Okay, so what was going on with that cake?
I don't know.
Because he wanted everyone to see the cake before he cut it. There were so many close-ups of the cake getting
cut.
Because
it had fibre on it, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were cut. There were so many close-up shots of them handing out the cake.
It was weird.
And the guy was saying, no, cut me a smaller piece.
I know.
I was like, what's in the cake?
Was it just like...
What's in the cake?
Like a control thing or... like a power move or something.
I have no idea. I think he just wanted a smaller piece of cake.
Michael was looking at everybody as if like... just looking at how they were looking at the cake, and the cake was going round, and like everyone kept talking about cake. That was so weird.
Man, that cake was a real double bluff. I really don't think I've ever been faked out by cake in my life so bad.
We just didn't get.
I mean,
I just don't.
Maybe
know.
there's some subtext to it somewhere. I was so suspect of that cake. Turns out it's just a vanilla sponge.
We interrupt this show to bring you a brief word from our sponsors.
Amber, I would like to tell you about Greenbird gift baskets. Cool, you're interested?
Interested.
Excellent, I'm glad you said that, because Greenbird Gift Baskets is a small local business based in Southampton offering gourmet gift baskets beautifully hand-wrapped in biodegradable cellophane. They use products from small local businesses wherever they can and are perfect gifts for weddings, birthdays, baby showers, or simply as a thank you.
We are passionate about supporting small local businesses who offer delicious products and share our values on sustainability. There is a selection of baskets available online, Greenbird gift baskets at square.site, and all baskets are totally customisable for dietary needs and tastes.
Greenbird gift baskets offer sweet, savoury and mixed baskets as well as picnic boxes, and prices start from just £25 for a gift basket. Amber, they can even add wine or fizz for an extra special touch.
Collection is available from Southampton, or they can deliver to surrounding areas. So visit Greenbird gift baskets at square.site and check them out on Facebook and Instagram at Greenbird gift baskets.
Oh, and make sure to tell them that Back to the Revuture sent you, yeah?
And now we return to your regularly scheduled programming.
I still have a question.
Okay. Well, I'll try my best to answer
What was the $2 million on the plane for?
That was their gift to, like, the country.
Yeah, but was that a lie?
No, I think there actually was $2 million
then,
in there.
Oh, no, I know. But I thought when he said, I was giving it as a gift to the president, I thought that was a lie.
No, I think that actually
So
was
why
a
did,
thing to allow them to start setting up business and
Right,
trading and everything.
Because he gave it to someone else as well later on.
Yeah.
So why did Roth say, when I wake up, if there's 2 million, I know we're partners. If there isn't, then we're not.
Oh, because the 2 million was coming from Michael Corleone to start business with them.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because he said, I know that $2 million didn't reach the island.
Yeah, because it was with his brother at
Right.
the time.
Okay.
So he didn't bring it with him.
Sure, because okay, yeah.
He didn't bring it with him or send
like
it on ahead.
100% sure
Yeah.
that he was going to do business with him because he knew that he'd crossed him already. So that's why
Exactly.
he didn't send it. Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. And I don't know whether this is a testament to The Godfather Part 2 and how well it's written, but there is something about this film that keeps you thinking. And the more you think on it, the more you go.
Now
like,
the more
oh, that
I'm like
makes
replaying
sense.
it
That
in my
makes
head,
sense.
I go, oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I agree. I feel better off.
I'm
for
not saying
having
that it's a
watched
bad
this.
film. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, it's bad or it's not as good or anything like that. I'm just saying that I like the first one better.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it is a better film.
Yeah.
I just liked it better because I found it like really exciting.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still, compared to a lot of other films, it's still way better than.
Oh, yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm not saying anything like that.
Like, if we're nitpicking
It's still a
things
quality
here,
film.
yeah, like if we're picking at things
But, yeah,
here,
we're
we're
here to
talking
talk
it
about
down.
it, what is-
We're only talking it down in the context of speaking about one of the best films that's ever
Yeah.
been made. It's like Gordon Ramsay going to a 5 Michelin star restaurant and going, yeah, I would have done this differently. I would have done this differently. It doesn't make it any less than a 5-star
no.
Michelin meal. He's just saying, I might have done that differently.
Yeah.
Now, I'm by no means a filmmaker or anything, by any stretch of the imagination. Well, maybe not too much of a
Same.
stretch. I don't know. But, depends. Depends how creative I'm feeling, I suppose. But when you look at this film now and you go, there are different storytelling methods that have kind of been used since this film came out to tell things a little bit better and a little bit clearer.
I know, but I like that they don't dumb it down for you, so they're not
Yeah.
spending loads of time sitting down and explain it, because that's your problem with
Yeah.
films like
Yeah.
this, that they spend half of the film sitting down and layman terms explaining exactly what's going on and what they're about to do and what's happened and that sort of stuff. So like,
Yeah.
it's a good thing that they just get on with it, get on with the action, get on with the like story.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, maybe I'm just thinking along the lines of how much I enjoy having resolution to things.
There would be a resolution. You haven't seen the last one yet.
Yeah, there is that. This is the thing. As far as storytelling goes, I am personally a sucker for resolution.
All the people that he wanted killed got killed. Everything finished. It was all rounded up.
Just like at the end of Godfather, really. Everyone turned up dead. Turned up dead.
Literally.
Yeah. And I did like that we got a little bit of James Caan in this movie as well. The late, great James Caan. Yeah, there was that one kid.
Made me laugh so much when there was that young boy who was like, looked like he was trying to fight and beat everyone up and punch everyone in the arm.
I was like, obviously Sonny Corleone.
And you were like, oh, that's definitely Sonny Corleone, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously. Like, how is that kid not Sonny Corleone?
So funny. And then at the end, he comes in being Sonny, James Caan, and then he's beating everyone up.
Like, there is only ever one Sonny Corleone, and James Caan is just brilliant at it. I did like that, because I didn't expect to have that flashback scene.
No. Oh, I really wanted Marlon Brando to turn up in that.
Yeah, and I guess he just didn't, because it would have only been like a maybe minute long part of the film.
I don't know why, but there was probably a reason why he didn't. I don't know.
There probably was. So, another little bit of is the trivia worth the time? When little Vito arrives, little Vito!
Oh, that's so cute, little V.
Little Vito coming over to the Americas, starting up a new life.
People getting his name wrong.
Oh yeah, and now here's the thing: when he calls him Vito Corleone at the start, rather than his actual second name, because Corleone is where he's from.
Yeah.
Now, this is a weird connection I made in my head, but please do bear with me on this, okay? Do you reckon that the part in Solo where he gets given the name, do you reckon that that is an homage to that?
Because it's set up exactly the same.
It is literally
He's
framed.
To go it's framed
exactly the same.
That's so funny.
Like, now here's the thing. I don't know if that was designed to be a direct reference to Godfather Part 2.
That's too much of a coincidence.
But if it is so much of a coincidence, I almost want to believe that it is.
I believe it. We've started it now. That's the thing.
There we go. In our headcanon, Solo, a Star Wars story, is connected to Godfather Part 2.
Yeah.
Which makes that... See, and everyone was going at the start, oh, that's so stupid that he got his name from that guy going, oh, are you here with anyone? No, I'm here by myself. Okay, Han Solo. Like, oh, everyone's going, oh, that's such a stupid way of it. I was like, it's literally in Godfather Part 2. That part is in Godfather, and that is widely regarded as being one of the greatest pieces of cinema that's ever graced God's green earth. How can people make that comparison now and look at that and now go...
It was written in the first film as well. I mean, in the first book as well.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, it is a thing. Apparently, what's he called again?
Francis Ford Coppola.
I keep wanting to call him like the other way around. Had hoped that Marlon Brando was going to come back. But he said no. Then he didn't appear in it at all. He wanted him to come back to play his young self because he was only in his 40s then and they could have made him look a little bit younger. So they wanted him originally to do like the whole thing and not have Robert De Niro at all.
Oh, wow.
And so he was like, oh no. So then he thought, okay, we'll do this like flashback bit. Flashback. Like lesser time ago flashback. And get him to come in that scene at the end with James Caan, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But he said no, he wasn't treated well enough the first time, so he wasn't going to come back and
didn't have enough steak and cake
so
on set for him or something. What?
Yeah.
I'll only come back if your craft services
towards the
are
end
better.
Of Godfather Part 2, there's a flashback scene featuring a cameo from James Caan, Michael's brother, who was obviously originally murdered. This scene takes place during one of Vito's birthdays, but he has to remain off screen.
Oh,
the scene was originally supposed to feature Marlon Brando as Vito, but after being mistreated by Paramount during production of The Godfather, he reportedly just didn't turn up on the day the scene was scheduled, and they just didn't turn up. He didn't turn
Oh my
up,
god! So he just did like an Irish goodbye and just didn't even.
devilishly didn't turn up.
Oh my god, that's great.
I think he got annoyed because they made him audition, screen test, the same as everyone else in the first Godfather, like totally admitting that he had done other films before. Right, well, so what?
Right.
He might not have looked the part. He might look. You don't know. Just because you've done other films doesn't mean that this isn't going to be like. Anyway.
You're the only actor on the planet, dude.
Yeah, they basically treated him exactly how they treated everyone else, and he didn't like it because he had done other films. So he just decided to just not turn up. So then they had to rewrite that whole bit so that James Caan was like the main
focus of it.
Of the scene,
right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, I am.
Oh, and apparently, even though he only worked one day on that bit shooting that table scene, James Caan earned the same amount as he made on the first whole film.
Whoa! Wait, what? So he shot a 5-minute long scene, and
then got the same as he did on the first film.
Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess after The Godfather, he was probably a bit of a bigger deal after that. In the 2 years in between filming,
yeah, I suppose
he probably became a little bit more of a
and
big
he was
deal
quite
and did some
fiery
other
as well,
things.
so he might have been a little bit fiery.
Yeah, maybe they're like they were probably like, we've got to just throw money at this guy so he doesn't beat the crap out of us.
Yeah.
God.
Because he's a crazy.
James Caan is coming back to set. Oh, crap. We're all in for it. We're all in for it. Let's just chuck money at us until he calms down, okay?
Give him that 2
God.
million that was lying on that set.
Oh, man. Anyway, yeah. When Little V, arrives at Ellis Island, he is marked with a circled X. Ellis Island immigrants were marked with this if the inspector believed the person had a mental or physical defect.
Oh yeah, he had smallpox.
So that's why he got marked
that was like
with
a
that
quarantine
X.
thing,
Yeah, it was basically like, this person needs to be checked out by a medical doctor or might have some sort of mental problem. So that's why they did that. Yeah, I thought that was worth mentioning.
Yeah, because I did notice that and I did wonder what it was for. I just thought I was there on his own. That's why they put it there. He was like a loner.
No, but yeah, that's actually to do with the fact that he had smallpox.
He had a problem.
Which I don't know if that was then like went on to be something vital later on or anything. So. But I mean, I think he might have mentioned something in Godfather about how he fought
had to be
against
in quarantine.
Yeah,
and stuff,
for ages.
Because like, yeah.
He
just made his travelling there worse, I suppose. I don't really know how he was like more lonely because he was on his own and had to be quarantined straight away and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure, but that's that anyway.
I did also want to mention that I was shocked at the ladders that you have to climb and the strings that you have to pull in order to get a decent meal on a train.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, so you can get
that would have been well first class.
Yeah,
really
it is possible to get a good bite to eat when you're on a train with proper cutlery, but you got to literally be the head of a mob family.
Yeah, because we don't do it in this country. I've been in first class in this country and I didn't get a meal.
No, you get maybe a hot coffee and that's about it.
Yeah, not like that.
No, it's weak. Well, weak coffee.
Oh, I thought you meant it was weak, the experience.
Well, yeah, I mean, the experience is weak. And yet there's still some chav at the back with their stereo on as well, isn't there? So, God, I mean, if that was Michael Corleone in the quiet carriage and someone...
Oh!
That one person that's still on their phone in the quiet carriage and Michael Corleone's there, just stands up, shoot them a look, and next thing you know, they turn up dead.
Yeah.
Turn up dead. Out of nowhere.
That is The Godfather.
Yeah.
I've got one bit of trivia.
You got one bit. I suppose it's only fair, isn't it? Because we both haven't seen the film.
It's not crazy trivia, but I just wanted to
Your bit about Sonny Corleone getting the same amount of money was pretty good, though.
Yeah.
In fairness.
I know, but they didn't say that was good, though. They might have meant that, like, the first day that he was there, the first film that he played, he got pittance.
Oh, yeah, that's probably...
I don't think that's what
I hadn't really thought of it like that. Oh yeah, we paid this guy minimum wage on the first film, but we'll give him the same for the one day that he's calling it in for the second one.
I don't think that's what it was.
Thanks James Caan for gracing us with your appearance. Here's your tenner for per diem.
Why aren't you Marlon Brando? God.
Yeah.
Because I thought...
What an insult as he turns up set. Why aren't you Marlon Brando? No wonder he's so angry as Sonny Corleone, is it? God, that's the greeting he gets met with. Hey, James, why aren't you Marlon Brando? Oh, I'm going to punch you
And
for
then
that.
it turned out that his son thought he was an elf.
Yeah, right?
We mentioned that last time as well.
I think we did mention that.
I'm only saying this because I think that you could guess or you already know what the other one is. But Robert De Niro and Marlon Brando were the first two actors in film history to win Academy Awards for playing the same role. There's been one other one.
Same actors winning awards or nominated for playing the same role. Winning.
Academy. First two actors to win Academy Awards for playing the same character. There was one other time that happened.
Really?
Who was it?
Wow. God. This is gonna. Do you know what? This is the thing. As soon as you tell me what it is, I'm gonna absolutely kick myself.
I'm gonna telepathically get it to your head.
Okay. Wow. I really wish that we were a little bit more telepathic. It's almost like we haven't been doing this for 2 years. Is it? Oh, sorry. There's a fly in here. I can't concentrate with the fly around.
I've tried to close my eyes, but I think it might be better if I open my eyes. Like we have to look into each other's eyes, and I'm going to do it.
Okay, is it a film that we've seen on the podcast?
Absolutely no.
Oh, okay. It's definitely a film that I've seen, though.
It's too. You're not understanding.
Okay.
Two different films.
Two different films.
They won. So Marlon Brando and Robert De Niro both won Oscars for playing the same character in their two separate films.
No, I get that, but I'm trying to think of what the other film is.
There's only one other time where two actors have won Academy Awards playing the same character for two separate films.
I understand the question.
So why are you trying to figure out the other film?
the question.
'Cause it's not another film.
It's two other films.
Yeah, but it's what character? It doesn't matter the film, does it?
Okay, all right, but all right, okay, fine.
So you would say they both got Academy Awards for playing Vito Corleone.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I understand the
what
question.
I'm saying is you don't have to think of the other film. You just have to think of the other character.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Okay, but it will be a character that's appeared
in
two different films, played by two different people.
Yes.
Right. Thanks. Good. I'm glad we clarified that.
Right. Okay. But it doesn't. I don't care about what the films were. I just want to know what the characters were. I'm gonna.
Okay. Is it Batman?
The film.
No, it's the character.
The character is not Batman.
All right. Okay.
But it's really close to Batman.
Is it? Oh, it's the Joker.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was trying to. I was thinking like, because someone
I actually gave that to you.
Yeah, you. Of course you did. Of course you did. I don't know if you got this, Amber. Well, we've been podcasting together for 2 years.
That's got nothing to do with the podcast.
Right? We can think telepathically.
Yeah.
No, it's the Joker. It's Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson.
No.
Right? No, not Jack Nicholson.
I really thought I'd given this to you.
Who was the other person?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes, of course. Sorry, because I don't immediately associate him with having won the Oscar.
That's why I said it was completely different
That's
films.
the thing. That's
not the Batman.
Yeah, no, that's. I don't immediately associate him with having won an Oscar for that film.
Oh.
I don't know why.
He dedicated it to his brother.
That is right. That's right.
And also mentioned
here's the thing. It's within very recent years, and I've given up following the Oscars.
Yeah, I know, it is all rubbish
recently,
now.
so I've kind of fallen out of it a little bit.
That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, because if I was to give my sort of quasi-political standpoint on a podcast that is meant to be kept relatively light, I do think that there are a lot of kind of pseudo-politics.
Bear in mind, we have said a lot of things about John Travolta on this podcast, and he is on the board. Guild.
Right.
Boarding guild. Gilding board.
Gilding board, the boarding guild, gilding board. Don't
talk about John Travolta in that way.
Mr. Gordon Build and Mr. Gilden Board, very nice to meet you. I do feel like there is a little bit of, this person hasn't won an Oscar. Let's let them have their moment.
I thought it was the
anything.
opposite. I thought this person hasn't licked our shoes and isn't in the biz and isn't part of the LA.
It's a little
scene,
bit of that,
and
as
they're not
well.
going to do that. It's like you really have to try hard in that circle
Yeah.
to get them to kind of paying attention. So like Johnny Depp has done. I mean, I don't want to talk about Johnny Depp on here, but Johnny Depp has done Oscar-worthy performances.
Absolutely.
No matter what you think about his personal life, whatever. In the past, before all of this started,
100%.
before 2022,
Yep.
he did do Oscar-worthy performances.
Sure.
But he never played their game, didn't make an effort
No.
to do the rounds in that way. So they were like...
Yeah. Like, he obviously doesn't want to put in the effort with the inner circle.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah, and that's what I kind of feel it is a little bit like.
That's why Leonardo DiCaprio took so long, because he's just him. He just does what he does. He takes the roles that he wants. He does the work that he wants.
Sure.
And he gets good at it.
Yeah, and then he finally got it.
So yeah.
And
after
it was
all this
for,
time.
like, The Revenant.
I mean, he was good in that though.
He was good in that,
Yeah,
but
but
he's
why?
been better
Like, why
in
now?
other things.
Yeah, why
This
didn't
is
he get
exactly
it
what I'm
for,
saying.
like The Man in the Iron Mask or whatever the blooming thing
Oh, like, even his role in Django Unchained, which was
Yeah.
fantastic. Or his role in
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
was. Oh, that was after though, wasn't it?
That was after he already won an
But
Oscar.
that as well.
But why not
Why
that
did he
as
get
well?
two?
Why not that as well? That's what I'm saying. So if you want my hot take on the Oscars, it's that. But if you want my other hot take, it's that anything that is immediately preceded by hot take is usually hot garbage anyway.
Yeah.
So my hot take is that my hot take is probably hot garbage anyway. But yeah, I feel like winning Oscars isn't necessarily the be-all and end-all of cinema, even though The Godfather has raked in a huge amount of Oscars. One
I
other
just
bit
like
of
the
trivia.
pomp of it.
Yeah. One other
And
bit
they
of...
wheeled them out on the 50. What? The Oscars, like, was it last year or the year before?
I don't
know. And they
know.
wheeled Al Pacino out, and they wheeled some actors out to commemorate like the whatever yearth anniversary of The Godfather or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
50th probably, because it was
Yeah,
the 70s.
yeah, no, it was this year because it was
Yeah.
50 years of The Godfather this year. So yeah, but I do feel like another bit of trivia is that this is the only sequel to have won as many awards. No, sorry, this is one of the only sequels to have won awards at the Academy Awards.
Right.
The other one was Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
Oh, okay.
So
Toy
yeah,
Story 2.
well, yeah, but it's like as many awards in one go as it did.
So not Toy Story 2.
So the fact that this did win awards is like one thing, right?
Yeah,
The fact that this was also like a great written film, like this could have not won awards, and
Yeah,
it still
doesn't
would have been
matter.
great.
People don't go, oh wow, that, like, okay. People do say, oh wow, that's won loads of Oscars, we need to go and watch it. But people don't say, oh, I love that film because it won so many Oscars.
Right. And here's the thing, I have seen films that have won Oscars that I've looked at and gone... I don't look at the cover of it and go, that looks... Like, I've looked at the film, because you're not going to do a whole lot else, are you? You know, I've watched the film, and I have been like, this is kind of garbage.
But it won Oscars.
But it won Oscars.
This is the thing, though, and it's like, it's a well-known thing in readers' groups and stuff. I mean, it might not be everywhere, but from what I haven't heard everyone saying this, but I do know that a lot of people will, like, disregard the Man Booker Prize winner
Yeah.
because the nominees and the runners-up are always better.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this one won for whatever reason, but actually the runner-up that year was 10 times better. It was
Yeah.
a better story and better written.
Yeah.
But it's just for whatever reason that won, because maybe it's like a bit more inclusive or a bit more diverse, a bit more different, you know, that sort of thing. But it's not better written.
Yeah.
And it's not
To
a better book. It's just like that.
give a way more layman's terminology as to like get access to that parallel that you've drawn. It's like coming second place in the X Factor. It's almost better to be.
Get better
Yeah,
results.
the person that comes
that's
second in the
weird.
X Factor is almost always better off.
Except for one time when James Arthur won because he was the best.
Well, all right. I mean, yeah, there you go. I mean, that one time, I suppose, is the exception that proves the rule. But yeah. So that's where I stand on that. So I think it's about time that we start giving The Godfather Part 2 a rating.
I don't think it's fair.
You don't think it's fair? Okay. Well, we kind of have to because that's the process of the show.
Oh, okay.
So as we do every episode, you seem so disappointed by that. But there we go.
Also, can I just ask one really quick thing?
Of course. I feel powerless to stop you.
This is kind of reminds me because you know how like everybody in this film has got really complicated names, and even the people that made the film has got really complicated names, like how to pronounce it and how to do it to say it right. Right. So Mario Puzo, that seems right.
Yeah.
Coppola.
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 Coppola. No.
Coppola.
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 I mean, it's not Spanish. It's not Capoya.
No, that's what I'm saying with Italian. Is it Italian?
Yeah, Coppola.
Well, no one knows. So I was watching a video the other day that was about like ways that we pronounce and mispronounce really famous people's last names. So like Ariana Grande, her name is actually Ariana Grande.
Oh.
Apparently.
I thought it was just Ariana Grande.
No, Grande apparently is what she said.
Oh, okay.
And it's not Rihanna, it's Rihanna.
Rihanna. God, some.
And
It's not 50 cents, it's 50 cents.
Jake Gyllenhaal, because that's actually
Don't tell me it's Gyllenhaal.
No, because it's
Okay,
actually
thank God.
Swedish. Apparently there's only one person who isn't Swedish that's pronounced it right, and that was Conan O'Brien when he was on the Conan O'Brien show that I watched. It's actually Gyllenhaal.
You are actually joking me. There is no...
Jake Gyllenhaal, like a
Jake
Swedish person.
Gyllenhaal? There is absolutely no way that is that kid's name.
What?
No
it was
way.
him that said it. I wasn't watching it.
God.
This wasn't a thing that I was watching about that other people were saying. This was actually me watching Jake Gyllenhaal say his name. Conan O'Brien was like, so obviously your name is spelt in a Swedish way, so I'm guessing it's actually different to what we've been saying. And there's Gyllenhaal, and like Jake, he literally looked at him with like wide eyes and was like, there's only one other time that's been pronounced correctly, and that was when I was in Sweden.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Here I am.
So there we go.
Calling him Jake Gyllenhaal like an absolute layman.
I feel like that should have been
An
for the
absolute
Brokeback Mountain one, but
numpty.
I hadn't seen it yet, so.
Wow. Okay. So, as we do every episode, the person that hasn't seen the film gets to give the film a rating of what they thought it was worth. But every episode, what the rating is out of changes. So do you want to go first or shall I go first?
I think you should go first.
Okay. What's it going to be out of? What's it going to be and what's it going to be out of?
Why are you asking me?
No, me. I know. I was just saying that out loud for my own benefit.
What's it going to be and what's it going to be out of?
Ah, okay. Thank you. So I am going to give it 4 and that's it. No, I'm going to give it 4. I nearly said 1.5. But I don't know what that extra half in my mind would be purposefully for, you know? Like, nothing sticks out in my mind. It's like, if I was going to give it 4.5, what is that extra half in aid of?
Okay.
You know? So even though I gave Godfather 5 stars, I think Godfather Part 2 gets 4.
Yeah.
And a half. No, I will give it a half. No, I will. Because the only reason that I was going to give it 4 was because I feel like the storyline went on a little longer than Godfather did and it was a little bit more complex. But I feel that's only me being a little bit dumb.
Yeah,
and I can't mark a whole star off of a film for the fact that I struggle to keep up with something. That's not very fair.
Yeah, same.
Like, I can still appreciate.
I feel the same.
Like, it's like
But we
that's
both
like me.
watch a lot of films and we're both quite savvy, and if both of us there were parts where we got a little bit lost. I feel like that's the same for everyone.
Well, maybe.
First watch. That's why people keep going, oh yeah, I had to watch it again. Because I
You've
didn't
got to
understand
watch.
it the first time.
But here's the thing.
That's not just us.
Like, I don't feel like someone watching a really good film, not getting it, and then going, oh yeah, it's only 1 star. But, like, it is a cinematic masterpiece.
I know, but it's 1 star to them because of their experience watching it. That's
exactly. So, okay, 4.5.
So I see what you mean, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to give it 4.5 Cuban cakes.
Oh. Is that like urinal cakes?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't try eating it if they are.
I wouldn't have thought that eating that cake was a good idea, but it was fine.
So no, I'm gonna give it 4.5 Cuban cakes.
Cuban cakes. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it 4.5 as well.
Really? Okay,
because when
good.
you were talking and you said I couldn't give it the extra half star, my extra half star is for Robert De Niro's accent and acting.
Right, yeah, okay, yeah, I mean, that's justified
it to me.
Not
language.
His language in the film. No, I
And
I
actually,
get that.
that's one thing about The Godfather 1 and 2. There isn't a lot of bad language. They don't swear. They don't have to swear to get their point across because they're just already intimidating and powerful that they don't need to resort to that type of language to get the point across.
I actually hadn't noticed that until you pointed it out. It's more just like the gun violence,
doesn't happen
I suppose.
A lot.
No, yeah. I actually hadn't really noticed that until you pointed that out. That's interesting. Their general sense of awe and power is enough.
Yeah.
They don't need to use bad language.
No,
their mums raised them better. That's why.
Did she?
And they respect their mums. They respect their mums' wishes, or at least until they're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it going to be out of, though?
It's going to be out of Hairy Nips.
Oh, okay, good.
That guy kept getting his hairy chest up for no reason whatsoever.
God,
Why was he
really
just lying
obsessed
around
with
with
that.
his shirt open all the time? It was so hairy.
Oh, because he's in Cuba.
No, but no one else was doing
and
it. Everyone else was wearing a nice suit and getting on with life.
I suppose. You were really obsessed with that guy's hairy nips being out,
because
weren't
they were
you?
quite hairy, that's all.
Literally every scene where he had his shirt, it's like, why has he got to get his hairy nips out?
Yeah, but really.
You'd had enough after like 5 minutes of it.
Yeah, I did.
Really, you were quite offended visually by that, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
I saw you like holding your hand up at one point to block it out.
No.
It's a shame we've got like a 55-inch screen. You were just like, I can't. Everywhere I look, it's still there. My hands aren't big enough to cover them. So, there we have it. The Godfather Part 2 gets 4.5 Cuban cakes from me and 4.5 hairy nipples, questionable, from Amber. But what do you all out there think? Do you think that The Godfather Part 2 is a 5-star cinematic masterpiece and that we've wrongly judged it and that actually it is superior to The Godfather? Although I don't know how it could be superior when we've given The Godfather 5 stars. What are we going to do? Give this one 6 stars?
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Like, how can that... at the very least, it can only be the same after giving Godfather 5 stars.
It just didn't get any better than that for me.
No, it just didn't.
I know other people say that this one is better, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's better for you.
Yeah.
But Godfather 1 was better for me.
Right.
That
all
we
the same.
didn't need this whole hour and a half. We could have summed it up in that.
Could have summed it up. But then we wouldn't have had a whole lot of
10
podcasts.
minutes.
It would have just been us messing around for there and a half.
No, that's fine.
Are there other films that you think we should be doing in our upcoming year of podcasting, potentially, before our next Podiversary, where we will, I don't know, maybe we'll do Godfather Part 3 on the next one? I don't know. I mean, round out the trilogy. If we make it to 3 years, I don't know.
No, we will make it to 3 years, but I don't think I'm going to do Godfather Part 3 for it. I might watch it in my own time. We should... Oh, no.
I mean, it really...
I was going to say we should do Matrix 2, but...
Well,
we need to do that a lot quicker.
We
can't wait another year for that.
No, not really. I mean, it depends where it takes us. If you've got any suggestions for what we should do and should build up to for our 3rd Podiversary, let us know through our social medias. Make sure you use the hashtag BTTRpod so that we know when we are being talked about on the internet. To give an idea of what we might have planned coming up for some upcoming episodes.
Yeah,
we
I'm
do
intrigued
have
about your Halloween thing, though.
Well, I mean, I won't go into the whole Halloween thing because for our Halloween podcast episode, that's going to be a whole thing. So I've got a plan for it, but it's a whole thing.
Alright.
There is a hint in there if you're clever enough to get it. Our Christmas podcast we need to think about as well. I feel like there are a couple of films that I have plans for that we need to watch. One of them I think will be Willow.
Oh,
because because here's the thing. No, because here's the thing.
I've watched everything that you've said we need to watch. Everything. I watched Clue.
I know.
I've watched 10,000 Nicolas Cage films.
No, you've watched 2. It only feels like 10,000.
Oh, it feels like a lot more than that.
You've only watched 2. But here's the thing. Willow was the first film I ever watched. So I think that needs to be done purely for so you're literally falling asleep. I love it. Fantastic. You're falling asleep just at the thought of it.
I was just joking.
But if there are other suggestions that people have, I think that we would be more than happy to consider ones that get thrown our way. If there are ones that people believe to be a true classic of cinema. Maybe our third year
Casablanca.
Casablanca.
Oh, jinx. Double jinx.
Maybe that's what that'll be on our third year. All of these thoughts and more can be conveyed to us through our social medias. I am at Drew Bridger.
At Amber Inch.
Do make sure that you are using the hashtag BTTRpod so that your thoughts and feelings can be seen when we are being talked about on the internet. Amber, if the listeners have enjoyed this episode or any other episode in our previous 2 years of podcasting, what else should they do?
They should like, subscribe and review on a podcast service and rate 5 stars. Also follow at BTTR Podcast on Insta.
Excellent. Yes, absolutely do that. Recommend to any filmy friends that you have that you think might get a kick out of it, any people that you know that are obsessed with films or reviews, or maybe just podcasts in general. If you think someone could do with a little bit more podcasting in their life.
Yeah, we're doing the Lizzie McGuire movie next.
Yeah, we probably should get round to doing the Lizzie McGuire podcast at some point.
No, the film I meant.
Yeah, but the film will be the pinnacle of the Lizzie McGuire podcast that we do. I think we've threatened this so much that we might actually just have to follow through on our threats at some point. I'll have to engineer a way of doing it that we can do it live.
Yeah, I reckon.
Or something. And again, do feel free to let us know if you want the official, unofficial Lizzie McGuire podcast to become a reality as well. But before we do fully sign off, I just wanted to say from Amber and myself to those of anyone out there that have been listening, even if you've only listened to 1 or 2 episodes, or if you have indeed kept up with our whole series of podcasts that we have been doing, thank you very much for listening in and interacting with the show in any way, and thank you to anyone that will eventually be listening in the future after this podcast comes out. Maybe you're listening to this episode way in the future and you're working your way back through our catalogue. This is a thank you to you as well. But until our next year of podcasting, Amber, before we go, there's something I want to extend your way. It's an offer that you can refuse. What's the offer? It's another year of podcasting. That's what the offer is.
I can't refuse that because I live here.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. You're forced into it. You're actually shackled to the chair. You're not allowed to go anywhere. That's it. For another year. We better get this next year pre-recorded and out of the way. Yeah. No timely references for us anymore.